Okay, awesome. So I'm just gonna start off by saying Wachumagul Kohukaga. That means hi, how as everyone in Congo. My name is Ophelia Juan. I'm a student engagement work study at the Chastain campus, and this is my partner.
Hi, my name is Sophie. I'm a NSA member. I'm the historian for Nursing Student Association. I'm also a HOSA member, and I'm involved in Legacy Leaders. It's kind of a step up from Emerging Leaders. And this is our presentation today. It's Harmony in Diversity.
So we're going to start off something with a very light exercise. It's the one word exercise. So if you're here virtually or in person, you can write this down or, in the chat. Or say it in a chat when you think of the word diversity. Now, when you're thinking of the word diversity, they might, throughout the presentation, you might see like the word you put down, or you might not see it, but we're just gonna go more in depth in the presentation on diversity and what's it really all about.
So when I think of diversity, I think of like the word inclusion and change and differences, obviously. Those are just a couple of the words I think of.
And then we just have a little cute acronym for diversity. Different individuals valuing and accepting each other regardless of skin, color, gender, and intellect, talents, or years.
All right. Okay, and this is just a definition of diversity. I'll just read it to you. It's a condition of having or being composed of different elements, especially the inclusion of people of different races, cultures, etc. in organizations. But you'll see throughout the PowerPoint that it's so much more than that. Okay, so there's actually 4 dimensions of diversity. I'm just going to touch on each one. Internal is pretty much what you're born with. It's something that isn't easy to change. You kind of just embrace it and go along with it, such as your race, age, physical ability, ethnicity, gender identity, and your mental ability. External, it's more so the factors that are pushing on you throughout your life. So that would be your education, your experiences, your socioeconomic status, your personal interests. These are things that you can change, but they do affect you. And then of course there's organizational. This can be organizational such as work, your schooling, employment, job function, where you work, what your education is, your pay status, and how long you've been there, your seniority. And then of course there's the worldview, which is your political beliefs, your moral and ethical values, your outlook on life. These are all things that make us who we are, and they make us diverse.
So the scope of diversity is far wider. We can learn a lot. And when researching and learning more about diversity, I didn't realize that we can learn it from nature, and it tells us the importance of diversity. When I was researching, there was this example of if you plant a tree in all one area, and if that tree catches a disease, then all the tree catches disease. You need to spread out the trees so then no one really gets infected, or mainly because so everyone is different, everyone's spread out, and then we can work together and helping that one defective tree to make sure that it's grown into a healthy tree. And then it also benefits one's health. Obviously, when we eat a variety of different foods, and then when we work out in variety of different workouts. Like there's Arabic, so like when you work out, it's from a different culture, or the general running and so on, and yoga. It's all different, and we can just all that's a good different set of diversity, which I was really like, oh, okay. I didn't really thought much of it, but when I was researching, it really caught my eye, and it's really interesting. And don't put all your money in baskets. So diversity is great for us financially as well. So we don't put everything into one investment. We can also separate our differences and where we want to invest, whether it's in stock, whether it's in land. It's very interesting. So it just comes to terms like we're not all the same, and we don't put everything in the same category. We just spread it out. And then of course, the culture of diversity is an important one. We learn from each other cultures. It's very interesting when we learn from somebody else. Like I'm currently wearing a Guatemalan clothing called a corte. This is more a casual look. We usually wear it when it's our Independence Day, but this is just very casual. We usually do a little bit more than that. We have a belt around it, but for the sake of the presentation, I decided to go a little bit light and business casual on my dressing. And so, yeah.
Okay, so we're just gonna do an activity. You can do this at home. It's really easy. You just draw 9 dots, 3 in a line, as you can see here. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna try to connect all the dots, but you're not gonna lift your pencil off the paper and you're not gonna retrace any lines. The lines are allowed to cross, but what you're gonna do is you're just gonna try to connect it with 4 straight lines. So if anybody at home wants to draw, 9 dots on their paper, and try to do that, they can. We'll give you like a couple of minutes. And I was going to show you guys the example of how I tried to do it before I saw the answer. It's a mess. Okay. If anybody wants to share how they did, they can before I show the answer. Okay. So this essentially is the answer. You can see where the 9 dots are right here. And look what the solution is. You have to go outside of the dots. So basically this correlates with diversity by saying that to solve problems, you have to think outside of the box. You have to be willing to go outside your comfort zone. And that's important, whether it be in education, schooling, the workforce, anything. You just got to think outside the box sometimes, and then you get a solution.
Now, embrace our individual uniqueness and differences. Diversity allows us for the use of wider varieties of viewpoints, views, and ideas, result in improved data collection, problem solving, and decision making. As we saw in the previous slide, you have to go outside the box. Now, embrace our individual uniqueness. As I was working on this in the kitchen table in my living room, or my kitchen dining room, my parents and my siblings are always interested in what I'm working at in school. So when I told them that my topic for this leadership program, the Legacy Leaders, is diversity, my sister told me a story about how things were different when she was younger. My sister is 33. She was born from Guatemala, and when she first arrived here in first grade, she did not know English. And she was very nervous. She was made fun of because she did not know how to speak English. She speaks Congo, which is the Native language at Guatemala, which my parents both speak. And then there she speaks Spanish as well. So she told me how throughout the years when she was growing up, she realized that it was not a weakness because growing up, learning a different language really helped her grasp and communicate with others and really build a communication with the community because she learned along the way, she learned how to speak English. So embrace your individual uniqueness really means, she found it as a weakness at the time when she was younger, but as growing up, she finds it as a strength. And English, native, and bilingual have different differences and strengths. So really just to come into terms that what you have that's different from others can really benefit you yourself, whether it's in the workforce or whether it's in your community, because that way you're also the language barrier, like you're able to translate yourself into an environment where other people might not understand. So that really helps in building tighten the community together. And that was really interesting because I never had an issue when growing up people making fun of me because I did not know English as much, and I only speak a little bit of Spanish, and it was really different. So it really put things in perspective how we've changed over the years, and really come to term of how we really embrace our culture and our ethnicity and where people come from. And you hear so many stories of people using that they thought as a weakness as a really strength of their own. And that really, really defines a diversity, using what you know. And so, yeah. Diversity is part of the college experience. I really think that this is important, especially when majority of us are in college or thinking about going into college. And it's just not the college experience itself, it's just life. And diversity enriches the educational experience. It promotes personal growth and a healthy society, strengthens the community and the workplace, and enhance self-awareness. Now, on this side, you can see this is the IRC diversity equality statement. IRC is defined by the belief that multiplicity of values and belief, interests, and experience and intellect and cultural viewpoints enrich learning and inform scholarship. So that is very, just the fact that we have a diversity statement really means just come to show how the colleges, and not just, I'm pretty sure it's not just IRC, but a variety of colleges really find it the importance that students are comfortable in their own, culture and skin, and be able to just come to school and learning from one another and not being afraid. The fact that that's even on the webpage really helps, and really it's like, oh wow, so I go into wearing what I feel comfortable with, knowing that it's my cultural clothing, or I can speak a language and not be like, just to be comfortable with it. And I think that's very important when you are approaching to college or thinking about it, really.
Yeah, and to just touch on that, I mean, not many people know this statement. I don't know it by heart. I actually found it, had to look it up, but it's really important to have. And just, to expand on that, we have all these clubs. You can go in River Life, you can search what you're interested in, and all these clubs, they're so inclusive, and you can kind of find your click, so to say, and you can always find somewhere you need to fit in. There's just so many options.
There's also clubs for not just like as in culture, there's religious club too, like the Interfaith Club, the Haitian Cultural Club, and there's also the International Club, where you don't even have to be in a foreign country. You can just go to the club itself and just to see what's going on and how everything is and how everyone works, and learning from each other, which I find very interesting as well. So River Life obviously offers a lot of variety of different clubs, whether it's religion, culture, or your preference in sports or anything. So yeah, that's a good thing to have.
What clubs and organizations is everyone involved in here at the college? Sophie, what's yours?
So I'm involved with the NSA. It's a National Student Association, and I'm also involved in HOSA, which is the Health Occupation Students of America. So it's more focused on like the healthcare side of it. And then obviously we're in Emerging Leaders.
Okay.
I'm part of the National Leader Society
of Leadership.
Yes, and that really does.
And it's a lot.
Yes.
Everybody knows it by the acronym, so it's always when you go to recite it back, even NSA,
yeah,
and NSLS. I like to call higher education the soup bowl of acronyms, because there's so many different ones, and sometimes that's even hard to get used to because
all the
diversity that's around all of higher ed in general. So good. Jamila, I see that you're on the line. What clubs and organizations are you involved in? You can either do it in a chat box, or you can unmute yourself and state what club you're in.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm in no clubs right now. I got disconnected earlier, so I just kind of got back on. But as of right now, I'm not in any clubs. This is my first semester at Indian River State College.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. We're happy to have you. We hope that we see you more involved in our lots of clubs and organizations, and always look out on River Life. We have lots of things going on every single day, if not every day, at least during the week. And we even have Spirit Week this week, and this week is Leadership Week, because all of our legacy leaders are doing their presentations. And so this is one of our student presentations. And this is a requirement of Legacy to develop a leadership workshop.
So this is just a
Yes, ma'am, you'll see me more often.
Awesome, we love it. Thank you.
So this is just a couple of things that I came up with. So morality, okay, so when we first step on campus, you know, our morals are tested. So we would like to be treated how we treat others. And so that's something that, you know, you experience in college. And also it involves in diversity in a way where okay, well, maybe not, and then someone knows the whole, for instance, to say for a, doesn't know English is the second language, or first is the second language, and is really trying to learn, and, you know, doesn't know the whole culture or how things work. And you just have to really work on really just being practical and being open to just being aware of that, you know, not everyone's going to know everything, and it's just be able to just be open up to the thought of diversity and the thought of, you know, hey, what's going on? Do you need help, or is there anything I can help you with? Or I see that you're struggling or something more, do you need help with anything? And that's really just caring about one another and being with each other and knowing that we can learn from each other. And, you know, it's a really good thing to have, especially in college, because, you know, in college, everything is different. You know, you meet different people, you are new to this. I guess everyone's in the same, because you're new to this campus that you've never been before and you don't know where to go, you're lost. But I do think that creativity plays a part in the college experience with diversity, because it creates a very healthy competitions with each other, and for us to really work outside the box and really think, you know, okay, well, if we're all just in one group thinking the same, and then there's just that one person that just knows what to do or knows what to exactly, it's hey, I got it. I think this can work. And that's just creates the creativity in the environment. And here in college, you know, all you want to do is just meet new people, meet different experience. And it's a good thing to have. And then beauty is one, out of the 3,000 schools, private and public here in United States, there's all sorts of level of beauty and diversity, you know, and I think that's amazing. And I think beauty is one that I really didn't got much about, and it was interesting to read about it. I'm oh, okay, I did not really think that beauty was part of diversity, but researching it more, it really is. And, you know, just looking at everybody, everyone's different and no one's really the same. Unless you're a twin, but even when you're a twin, it's completely different. There's just different aspects and priorities when you are in the workforce. Obviously, employers are looking for you to experience diversity. Now, how do you experience diversity? It goes more into that, the fact that you know, you can just honestly just help with somebody and just being going to a different club that you've never been before, or finding something interesting, hey, I find this culture really interesting, and going to a club that's having the Haitian Cultural Club, oh, I really want to learn more about this, and just going in there and learning everything is a really good thing.
So I see that we have a question. Erica, with your hand up.
Yes, what was the biggest, I guess, the biggest learn or the biggest takeaway that y'all had coming to college? Was there anything dealing with diversity that really stood out to you? Did you learn something about someone new, another culture, you know, learn something about your culture? I mean, was there anything new that you learned as you're here in college that was kind of oh, I didn't know that, or learned about another culture?
Definitely.
Yeah. You want to go ahead?
Yeah. So I made two really good friends here, Sebastian and Mick. They, Mick is actually Haitian and Sebastian's from Colombia. And I met them. We had one of the AA courses. I can't remember what one. I think it was algebra. We were in that class together. And, you know, we just got seated together and we just started talking, and now we're really good friends, and I'm constantly learning new things from her and new things from him. So I think it's just for me, the takeaway about diversity is just be open, like talk to your peers, whether they look like you, sound like you, regardless, just talk to people.
It was a couple of months ago working at the Chastain campus when this student came in and, she's been in there for hours and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna ask if she needs help with anything. And she was telling me how, and I thought of it like it was always in the back of my head, but I really never met someone who says that she's like in her culture, women are not allowed to get an education. And I was like, interesting. And then she went in depth and she comes here to work and trying to get an education because she knows that here in the United States, there's a lot to offer. And she has a son and she wants to be able to have a better future for him and for herself too. And I was like I always knew that some cultures did not really allow women to have an education, but to come to terms and to talk to her about it was very eye-opening because I'm grateful that I was able to get an education or still getting an education, not worrying about my parents, saying that you need to be a stay-at-home mom. And it's just very eye-opening and that she opened it up and she was very comfortable about talking about it because she wanted to be able to make it aware that you don't know what everyone's going through and that, and people have been so kind to her and obviously here at IRC, everybody's been helping her and welcoming her. And that's the thing that I love about IRC. So they're here to honestly help. And even if you think you're alone, you're definitely not alone. There's always someone behind you, whether it's your peers, your professor, your advisor, or just a faculty member. It's like, hey, how are you? And then next thing you know, you get to talking to he or she. And so that's why I came to diversity, where I was like, oh, wow, this is very interesting. And it just puts things in perspective. I value education and I think education is important and not everyone has that, not everyone has that benefit.
Yeah.
So, and I'm rooting for her. I'm always seeing her. I'm always helping her, and she's been teaching me a couple languages. And so we've been sharing our thoughts. And I was like, this is so cool. So it was just really, and obviously there was more but this one is really eye-opening and it just put things really into perspective for me in education. So thank you for that question. And then, so yeah.
So lastly, we just have a video. It's about 3 minutes. But before we play it, did anybody have any further questions or anything? Or an experience that you want to share?
Before we play the video, I just would like to say respect is honestly something that we can all learn, and diversity is all about respecting. And nowadays it's just everyone has an opinion and it's okay to have an opinion, but just respecting different cultures and just learning by it is just fascinating. And so this film is really, I think it was really well put together, and I hope that it just puts things in perspective and that everyone's going through something. Working with Sophie, obviously we've been talking and we got to know each other and we learned different things. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And it's just really good. You can see the diversity in the partners as well.
Absolutely. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean.
No, you're fine.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna start it.
Box over on our
This one?
left.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Don't want to exit out of that. All right, and that's the end of our presentation. Just to
Very
leave you on
powerful
that.
Video.
Absolutely. Just think
I really
about
like
it.
that. I know I told you I wanted this to be a surprise element of your presentation, so, it actually brought tears to my eyes,
Yeah.
so that's, that's how you always know something's empowering.
Gives you
when
goosebumps.
you get goosebumps in it. I love that video. Please share that link with us directly so
Yeah.
that we, can use it for other things and, great
Yeah.
job, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks everybody that joined us today.
Thank you.
All right. Jamila, thank you so much for joining us. I tracked your attendance so that you'll get credit for doing a leadership seminar, and hopefully you participate in our various paths that we have in River Life. We have a Pioneer Splash Perks program or a River Life Splash Perks program where you can earn free giveaways by attending different things. So check out that. And we have the Emerging Leaders Path, which is our leadership experience program. Check everything out. And if you have any questions, you're always welcome to email us. Our email address is really easy, studentengagement@irsc.edu. And that goes to myself and my team, and we'll be happy to assist. And we look forward to seeing you at more activities that we hold.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody. You're very welcome.